Hello, welcome to Math with Mr. Dobrescu, to the rescue. Today we are going to continue graphing linear equation using a table of value. This is a table of value where we put our x values, our y values, our equation, x and y coordinates, right? The order pairs, don't forget that. And then we are going to miraculously graph those order pairs on the coordinate plane right here, x and y coordinates. Let's do that. So here we have an equation, y equals 7 over 2x minus 2. Please, anytime we have an equation and we need to create a table of value, please be very organized and create a table of values. Let's put an x right here. So this is the x values. The x values are going to go right there. And then we are going to write the equation right here. So we have y equals 7 over 2x minus 2. Here we are going to put the y values, and here the x and the y coordinates, right? The order pairs. So first of all, we are going to give some values for x. And then we are going to plug those values into the x, into the equation, and then solve for y. We've done that before, and now I think we can do this really easy. But first, we need to make sure that we are not going to end up with a fraction here for the values of y. Therefore, we have to be very careful. Anytime we have a fraction into our equation or into our function, we have to choose the numbers carefully. We want to cancel these or simplify these two from the bottom, 7 over 2. We want to choose a number that will simplify these two on the bottom when we multiply it by x, right? So the x should be a number that will simplify the 2 on the bottom. Of course, 2 would be a good choice. So let's choose 2 for x. 2 will simplify the 2. We can also choose 0 because 0 times any number or fraction is still 0, right? So let's choose 0. We could also choose -2, but remember, I don't want to complicate things with negative numbers. So let's continue with another number that will simplify 2. That will be 4. If I multiply 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 4 divides 2. 4 simplifies the 2. You see, we very carefully chose those numbers, 2, 0, and 4. Again, be very careful. Anytime we have a fraction, we are going to carefully choose those numbers. And now let's plug those values into the equation and then solve for y. So we are going to plug the 2 first, right? So 2 is going to go into this x. So now we are going to have y equals 7 over 2 times 2 minus 2. Okay? Be very careful now. 7 over 2 times 2. And of course, multiplication comes before subtraction. So we are going to simplify these 2 with these 2, right? Let me use another color here. These 2 and these 2 cancels out. On the top here, we just have 7, because this becomes just a little 1 here and another 1. 7 minus 2 becomes 5. So the order pair is when x equals 2, y equals 5. When x equals 2, y equals 5. Okay? When x equals 2, y equals 5. We can grab that right now. Let's grab that. When x equals 2, y equals 5. We can do it right there. Graph as we solve, right? When x equals 2, when x equals 2, y equals 5. So we go 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. When x equals 2, y equals 5. This is our first dot right there. Right there. Now, something that's very, very careful, very important. I've been telling you, the number at the end. Remember, when the y is by itself, then we have the x, a number or a fraction times the x minus a constant, a number. That number at the end represents, of course, the y-intercept. I've been telling you this all the time. This number, including the sign, -2, actually represents the y-intercept, right? So we know that this line, our line for this equation, is going to cross the graph at -2. Don't forget that. -2, right here. So this one is actually the y-intercept. Intercept. Remember that. Please remember the last number at the end with the sign when y is by itself. Remember that form. Y equals mx plus b, right? -2 is the b, the y-intercept, right? Don't forget that. The line is going to cross through that point. So let's do here. When x equals 0, y, right? We'll see, we'll find the y. So let's plug it in. So we have y equals 7/2 times 0 now, minus 2. And remember, any number or any fraction times 0 is 0. And 0 minus 2, be careful. If I have nothing, 0 times -7/2 is 0. I have nothing. And then I owe you $2. Do I still owe you the $2? Yes, I do. So the answer is, of course, -2 there. -2. Okay? -2. 0 minus -2 is -2. And the order pair is 0 and -2. Right here, remember, when x is 0, y is -2, and we got it. This is our dot right there. Okay, we found it just by looking at the last number in the equation. Remember, the constant, the last number, represents, of course, the y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, and finally, let's plug in the 4. Okay, so when x equals 4, we are going to plug this 4 for the x. So we have y equals 7/2 times 4 now, minus 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then we have here, there's a 7 at the top here. 7 times 2 becomes 14. And 14 minus 2 becomes 12. Okay, don't forget that, right? 7 times 2, 14 minus 2, 12. So the word, the pair is 412. Okay, so we got 2 points already. And the third one is 412. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have to go 12 up. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Somewhere right here. Okay, we are off the grid almost, right? But it doesn't matter because we are still going to connect those 3 dots and create a line. Okay? And this line has to go through -2, right? The line is a little bit crooked. Let's do it again. Okay? Let's create that line again. Oops, my bad. Let's create the line again. Okay? So we start from here. It goes right here. And we can continue the line a little bit more. This is our line. Okay? And we are going to identify the slope here. If the slope goes to the right, if the line goes to the right, the slope is positive. So let's take a look here. Okay, the slope goes to the right. Remember, it goes from left to right. Okay, so remember, when we write from left to right, right? From left to right. The same thing, we are going to read this from left to right. The line goes to the right, and therefore the slope is positive. Okay? And let's see if we can identify the slope just by looking at this equation. Okay? Y equals 7/2x minus 2. Let's see if we can identify the slope. Let me read those lines here. Okay? See if we can identify the slope. Okay? And remember, I've been telling you all along that the slope is the number or the fraction in front of x. So that fraction is actually 7/2. This represents our slope. This is our slope, or the m. The m or the slope is this, 7/2. Okay? We rise 7/2, 7/2, right? So we go 7 up, 7 units up, over 2. 7 units up, over 2. Okay? Think of stairs, right? Mr. Dobrescu likes to do lots of hiking. So when I hike, sometimes I have to climb stairs and steps. I go and hike over the rocks and so forth. And in this case here, how many units I have to jump or I have to climb? 7 units. It's like almost, Mr. Dobrescu, you have to jump like 7 units, just like that. What? 7 units over there, right? 7 units, and then walk 2 units. Walk 1, 2. And then jump again, 7, and 1, 2. Oh, Mr. Dobrescu had a little fall. Oh, I'm back. Mr. Dobrescu is back now because I have to jump 7 over 2. 7 over 2. Okay, be careful with this one. I don't recommend you to do this because it's pretty steep. This line, it's actually, this line is very steep. Rise over run. Rise over run. Please remember that. The line goes to the right. The slope is positive. You got the idea here. Remember, the last number at the end represents the y-intercept, and the number in front of x represents the slope. That's it. Okay, let's take a look at another example here. Here we have 2 over 3x plus 4. Remember, again, step number one, you have to create the table of values. Don't forget that. Create the table of values. And we are going to set some values for x, right? X, and then we are going to create the equation, right? So we have the x, and then the equation is right here. Y equals 2 over 3x plus 4. Don't forget the y values now, and then we are going to eventually have the order pairs right there. Okay, so first of all, now we again have to be very careful when we choose the values of the x, because our goal is to get rid of this fraction. And the problem is these 3 on the bottom. As we choose the values of x, we want to choose numbers for x that will eventually simplify or cancel that 3 on the bottom. And of course, the first number would be 3, right? So 3 would be a good number. Also, 0 would be a good number because remember, 0 times any number, including fractions, is still 0. So 0 is a good number again. And we also can choose negative 3. Let's choose a negative number in this case because negative 3 will also simplify, cancel that 3. Okay, so let's plug it in now. Let's see what we get when we plug those values in. So instead of x, we are going to put 3. So we have here y equals 2 over 3 times 3 plus 4. Okay, so here we can simplify 3 and 3. 3 and 3 simplifies out. So now we have 2 plus 4 equals 6. So the order pair is when x equals 3, y equals 6. 3, 6. The same thing with 0 now. We are going to plug in 0 for x. And we are continuing the process. Y equals 2 over 3 times 0, don't forget, plus 4. And again, anything times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 4 is 4. And the order pair is when x equals 0, y equals 4. 0, 4. And finally, let's include this negative 3. So we have y equals 2 over 3 times x, right? And x is negative 3 times negative 3. Let's put that in a parenthesis, plus 4, because we have a negative number. But again, negative 3 divided by 3 becomes negative 1, right? And negative 1 times 2 becomes negative 2. So here we end up with negative 2 plus 4, and that becomes a positive 2, right here. So the final answer here we have when x equals negative 3, y equals 2. Negative 3, comma 2. And now we can graph those order pairs into the graph right here. But As a quick reminder and as a little shortcut, remember the last number here at the end represents, of course, the y-intercept, right? So y-intercept is at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the y-intercept. We got it. Y-intercept, right? Is right there. Right here. When x equals 0, y equals 4. When x equals 0, y equals 4. We got that one. Let's grab the next one. When x equals 3, 1, 2, 3, y equals 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Right there, right here. Okay, this is the top order pair right there. And finally, when x equals negative 3, y equals 2. When x equals negative 3, y equals 2 right here. Okay. So, of course, we are going to connect these dots and we are done. So the line goes through those points. Okay. And again, it goes from left to right. From left to right, the slope is positive. And we can also identify the slope by looking at the number or the fraction in front of x. And this is our slope. This is our slope. So the slope in this case is rise, which is 2 over 3, right? 2 rise over run. Right over run. A lot easier in this case for Mr. Dobrescu to climb those stairs, right? Rise only 2, right? So I can put like a big one, I can jump just a little bit 2, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. And then again 2. 1, 2, 3, and so forth. You got the point. Rise over run. Rise over run. Slope, y-intercept. Let's continue with another example now. And in this example, it's a little bit different and very, very easy. What's going to happen if y equals a number? And what's going to happen when x equals a number? A very easy equation. When y equals a number, and when x equals a number. Let's see what's gonna happen, right? So let's see, let's find out. Again, remember I've been telling you, when y equals a number, it means that we are going to this number here, negative 5, on the y-axis, right? Y equals negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5. And then I've been telling you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to draw a horizontal line through that. Sorry, it should be horizontal. Horizontal line through that negative 5. And that's the answer right there. So easy. When y equals a number, it's like our ground, our floor in the classroom, right? The line goes horizontally. And the slope is what? Slope is 0, right? Slope is 0. We have no 0 here for the slope. No slope here. The slope is 0. We go to negative 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the slope is 0. Right here, negative 5. And the slope is 0. But let's create a table of value. The same thing. We have the x values, the y values, and the order pair. X, y, and then the equation y equals negative 5. Which one of these is negative 5? The x or the y? And of course, the y is negative 5. So whenever you see the y, you just put negative 5. Negative 5, negative 5, negative 5. That's it. Whichever is negative 5, the y equals negative 5, right? Negative 5, negative 5, negative 5. And now, we are going to choose some values for the x, right? The same thing. Let's choose 0, small numbers. 1, 2. We can choose actually any numbers, but remember, it's better to choose the small numbers because we have a small graph here. And the equation here, y equals negative 5, right? So the order pair is 0, negative 5. Because y is negative 5. Y is negative 5, negative 5, negative 5, right? We got it, negative 5. So here, y is negative 5, y is negative 5. And the order pair here, when x equals 1, y is negative 5. When x equals 2, y is negative 5, right? You see that? You got a point? So the same thing. When x equals 0, y is negative 5. When x equals 1, y is negative 5. That's the second point. Right here. When x equals 2, y is negative 5. Right here. So all the points on this line are the solution of this equation. And y is always negative 5, right? So the line is always going to stay horizontally with a slope of 0. Please pay attention to this. Anytime y is a number, we have a horizontal line, just like that. Now, let's see when x equals a number. And remember, I've been telling you, when x equals a number, we go to x. X equals a number. So we go to the x axis. X equals 7. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right here. And remember, on that 7, I've been telling you, when x equals a number, we are going to have straight line up and down. The slope is going to look just like that. Actually, the line is going to look just like that. Up and down, a vertical line. The line is vertical. And in this case, since the line is vertical, do you see any slope there? We call this, the slope is undefined. Remember that. Slope is undefined. Please remember this. The slope is undefined when x equals a number, because the line is going to go up and down, up and down. Again, let's give some values. We have the x, the y, x and y. Okay? Which one is 7? X or y? X is 7. So the values of x are always 7. 7, 7, 7. And now we are going to give some small numbers for y. 0, 1, and 2. X equals 7, right? X equals 7, x equals 7, x equals 7, right? Y equals 2, or the pair. When x is 7, y is 0. When x is 7, y is 1. When x is 7, y is 2. Okay? And when we graph this, when x is 7, y is 0. Right here. That's the first dot right there. When x is 7, again, when x is 7, y is 1. Right here. Next one. When x is 7, y is 2, and so forth. Okay? All the points on this line represents, right? That's the line, the graph when x equals a number, right? The line is going to be straight up and down, a vertical line, and the slope is undefined. Please remember the difference between x and y. When x equals a number, we have up and down line. Either negative or positive, but straight up and down. When y equals a number, horizontal line. If it's a positive, horizontal this way. Remember the difference. Please remember the difference. Okay? And let's look at the last two problems for today. The one of them here, when y equals negative x, let's see how this graph is going to look. And now when y equals positive x. Two little difference, but it's going to make a little difference, right? When y equals negative x, and let's see what's going to happen when y equals x. Remember, start with a table of value. Okay, so we have the x, the y, remember the word the pair x and y, and here the equation y equals negative x. And again, the easiest way would be, if we don't have any fractions, please choose the small numbers we talked about. Any small number would work. 0, 1, and 2. We can also pick some negative numbers. But remember, I told you, choose very small numbers. And we are going to put those numbers now. We are going to substitute x with 0 first. So we have y equals negative instead of x equals 0. Negative 0 is still 0. So y equals 0 here. And the word pair is 0, comma 0. Let's continue with 1 now. So we are going to plug in 1 for x. And here we have y equals negative. Now, instead of x, we put 1. Negative 1, of course, negative 1. So the word pair is 1, negative 1. Okay, and let's continue now with 2. So instead of x, we are going to put in the 2. So we have y equals negative. Don't forget this negative, negative 2. And of course, here, negative 2. When x equals 2, y equals negative 2. And now we are ready to graph this equation, right? Of course, 0, 0, it goes to the origin. That's the first one right there. just by looking at this equation, do you see the y-intercept? If you don't have it, you can just add it. We don't have it. It's 0, right? Plus 0. 0 is a number. If you just, for a visual, want to add it, add a 0 there at the end. Remember, the last number at the end represents the y-intercept. And then we are going to find the slope eventually, but remember, the slope is the number in front of x. But right now we don't have any numbers. But I've been telling you, if we don't have any numbers, you are going to add the invisible 1, right? So we have the rise over run. Because if we put the 1 there, 1 times x is still x, right? 1 doesn't change anything, right? When we multiply by x. So our slope in this case is negative 1 over 1. This is our slope. Okay? Remember that. The number in front of x is the slope. And if we do not have a number, add that invisible 1. Please remember that. Okay. So let's continue with 1 and negative 1. When x equals 1, y is negative 1? Right here. Okay? And finally, when x equals 2, y is negative 2. Right there. And it's going to go forever, right? With a positive 3, negative 3. And there is a pattern here. So the line is going to go just like that, through the origin, through those points. In a diagonal shape. The line is going to be diagonal, right? And of course, because we have a negative here for the slope, negative 1 over 1, the slope is negative. The line goes to the left instead, right? So now we're going from this way. The slope is going down, right? From left to right, we are climbing down. We are climbing down here because the slope is negative, right? So negative 1 over 1. Let's take a look at that slope here. Negative 1 over 1. Take a look. Negative 1 over 1. Negative 1 over 1, and so forth. It's going to go like that forever. Because this is our slope. Negative 1 over 1 is right here. Y-intercept slope. Let's take a look now at example 6. Example 6 here, we have y equals x. And remember, always start with the table of value. It's going to help you tremendously. If we create a little table of value, you can draw it your own, right? We have the x values, the y values, the x and y coordinates, and then the equation, y equals x. And of course, we are going to give, again, some small numbers. In this case, let me give some negatives also. So 0, 1, and negative 1. Let's choose some negative numbers here. And let's see what we get. So let's plug in the 0 now for x. Don't forget that. Y equals, when x equals 0, y equals 0, right? Instead of x equals 0. 0. 0, 0. Look how beautiful this becomes. When x equals 1, y equals, x is 1. Y equals 1. So, the same. 1, 1. And finally, when x equals negative 1, plug it right here, y equals x, but x is negative 1. So y equals negative 1. So the order pair is negative 1, negative 1. Okay, I hope you got this idea. You see what's going on here, right? So this, let's grab this one, 0, 0, right here. Let me use different color, 0, 0. Through the origin, 0, 0. When x equals 0, y is 0. This is done. When x equals 1, y is 1. When x equals 1, y is 1. Right here. This one is done. When x equals negative 1, y is negative 1. When x is negative 1, negative 1. So now that's going to become right here. And when we connect the dots, okay, we see that this line is going diagonally, but is going this way to the right because the slope is positive. The same thing. In front of x, we don't have a number. We can add the invisible 1. 1 over 1. This is our slope, but the slope is positive. We just go to the right. And then we can add the invisible 0. This is our y-intercept. Y-intercept. And for you to clearly see it, now we are climbing up, right? Rise over run, rise over run, and so forth. Small steps. I recommend these are the best stairs ever, right? One up, over one up, over one. Pretty safe here. I like to climb those steps. Not the first steps I climbed before when I jumped and Mr. Dobrescu almost lost his balance and he lost it a little bit, right? But now those are safe stairs to climb. Rise over run. When y equals x, the lines go to the right, diagonally through the 0, 0, through the origin. When y equals x, to the right. When y equals negative x, the opposite. It goes to the left through the origin. That's it. Y equals x, y equals negative x. Thank you all so much for watching. Now I know for sure you are pros in graphing linear equations using a table of value. Again, thank you all so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video so everyone, all the students, will be able to now know how to graph linear equations. Thank you all so much again, and please stay tuned for our next video. All the best to you.